I'll give you $1,000,000 if you can answer this question honestly. Do you genuinely like the person you have to pretend to be in front of others? The cheerful mask you wear at parties, the confidence you try to project in meetings, the person who is always ready to say yes when everything inside you is screaming no. If your answer is no, or even a slight hesitation, a little "I'm not sure," then the next 15 minutes might be the most important 15 minutes of your year. Because today we're not going to learn how to perform better. We're going to learn how to stop performing forever. The journey to taking off that mask begins by understanding why we had to wear it in the first place. And the answer might surprise you. The problem isn't with you. The problem is that you're trying to run incompatible software on magnificent hardware. Imagine this. Your hardware, the introvert's brain, is a machine designed for sophistication. It's built for deep processing, for contemplation, for immersing itself in a rich inner world, and for enjoying the beauty of silence. It's a quantum computer, but from a very young age, the outside world has tried to install an extrovert operating system on you. An operating system programmed to prioritize noise over quiet. It demands that you constantly connect, constantly perform, constantly react quickly. It rewards those who talk the most, laugh the loudest, and show up in the most places. This chronic conflict between your deep hardware and this shallow software creates a massive energy leak. It drains your soul's battery every single day. That's the root cause of feeling exhausted after a social gathering, even a fun one. It's why you have to wear a social mask every time you leave the house. And it's also the reason for that nagging guilt you feel whenever you just want to be alone, in your own space. Please, hear this clearly. You are not broken. You're not weird. You're simply running an operating system that wasn't designed for you. And in those moments of exhaustion, when your fortress is weakened, an internal enemy begins to rise. It's the inner critic. It starts with a whisper. It compares you to the seemingly successful extroverts who always seem to be full of energy. It tells you that you're not good enough, not interesting enough, that your silence is awkward. Slowly, you start to believe that lie. And once you believe it, you begin a desperate search. You seek external validation to fill the internal void. A compliment, a nod of approval, a moment of recognition. They become temporary painkillers. But the more you seek, the emptier you feel. Why? Because according to Stoic philosophy, you have made a fundamental error. You have placed your self-worth, the most precious thing you own, in a place that is completely outside of your control. You have handed it over to the judgment of others. That is the source of all self-loathing. But the good news is, if you have given that power away, you can absolutely take it back. And Stoic philosophy is the manual that shows you how. It doesn't ask you to change your hardware. It simply gives you a new operating system, an OS designed to turn your silence into strength. That new operating system is built on a fundamental shift. The modern world talks to us about self-love. It's a beautiful concept, but for an introvert, it's often fragile. It depends on feelings. Today you feel you love yourself. Tomorrow, after a failure, that feeling can vanish. The Stoics don't seek a feeling. They build a state of being. It's not self-love, it's self-respect. Picture it this way. Self-love is a cozy wooden cabin on the beach, very pleasant, but it can be swept away by a storm. Self-respect is a stone fortress built on a mountain. It may not be as warm, but no storm can bring it down. This self-respect doesn't come from what others think of you. It comes from what you think of your own actions and choices. The philosopher Seneca said, "Everywhere, the thing that makes a man happy lies in his own hands." He's saying that the source of your stability is not external. It's not in a compliment, a promotion, or a relationship. It is an internal asset. You are the source. And Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote the ultimate declaration of self-respect. The insults of others can't mar your character unless you yourself allow it. Your character is a fortress. The words of others are just arrows shot from a distance. They can only hurt you if you open the gate and let them in. Perhaps no one understood this better than Epictetus. He was born a slave. His body belonged to another man. Yet he maintained absolute freedom and dignity in his mind. His master could control his body, but could never touch his most precious possession, his power to choose and to judge. That is the ultimate self-respect. And don't think that building this self-respect is selfish. The Stoics understood that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Building a strong inner fortress isn't about isolating yourself. It's about becoming a steady lighthouse for others in the storm. A person with self-respect will be a better friend, a better colleague, a better parent, because they no longer seek validation from others. They bring stability to others. So, what are the foundation stones we use to build this fortress? Here are 3 fundamental tools. The first tool, the Inner Scribe. This is a dialogue, not with others, but with yourself, through Stoic journaling. This isn't about recording what happened. It's about analyzing your judgments about what happened. This is an absolutely safe space for an introvert, where you can dissect every thought without fear of judgment. Tonight, before you sleep, instead of scrolling on your phone, take a notebook. Write down one event from the day that bothered you, then answer 3 questions. 1. What actually happened? Just the facts, no emotion. 2. What was my initial judgment about it? 3. Is there another way to see this, a more rational and less painful perspective? The second tool, the architect of time. Introverts need silence like they need air. But Stoicism teaches us to turn that need into a deliberate act. Don't wait until you're exhausted to seek solitude. Proactively design silence into your schedule. Open your calendar right now, block out 15 minutes every day, and name it Meeting with Myself. During that time, you do nothing. You are maintaining your fortress. And the third tool, the Citadel's Gatekeeper. This is the answer to the question, how do I forgive? Forgiveness, according to the Stoics, is not a warm feeling you wait for. It is a rational decision made by the Gatekeeper. You decide that the attackers from the past will no longer be allowed inside your fortress to harm your present. You close the gate, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. When a painful memory comes to mind, say to yourself, that belongs to the past. It has no power here. I choose the peace of the present. These 3 tools are now in your hands. A notebook, a calendar, and a decision. It sounds simple. But here is the hard truth I have to tell you. Having the blueprint for a fortress does not make you an architect. And this is the greatest challenge. You are not an empty plot of land easy to build upon. You are a landscape with pre-existing paths, carved by decades of habit, of unconscious reflexes, and of nameless fears. You cannot change this terrain by sheer will alone. The most fatal mistake most people make, they try to build all 3 structures at once. They try to journal every night, schedule silence every day, and forgive every past wrong, all in the first week. What's the result? You burn out. You feel guilty for not being able to do it, and then you quit. You return to the old, worn-out paths, believing you're not disciplined enough, or worse, that this philosophy doesn't work. So what does the wise architect do? They don't rush. They focus on laying a single foundation stone. They understand that to build a lasting structure, the foundation must be the priority. Instead of trying to become a perfect Stoic, choose one tool, just one, the one you feel you need the most right now. If you're struggling with chaotic thoughts, start with the Inner Scribe. If you feel drained by the outside world, start with the architect of time. If you're being held back by the past, start with the role of the Citadel's Gatekeeper. Make it your only priority. Then, don't aim to build an entire wall. Aim to lay one brick a day. You don't need to write 3 pages in your journal. You just need to answer 3 questions about one small event. You don't need an hour of silence. You just need 5 minutes of doing nothing. You don't need to forgive every wound. You just need to decide to close the gate on one small memory today. These are the small, consistent actions, day after day. Even Seneca, one of the greatest writers, struggled. In his letters, he frequently lamented that he wasn't good enough, that he was still prone to anger, that he still desired fame. He wrote, "I am not a wise man, and to feed your malevolence, I'll add that I never will be." He didn't see himself as a finished work. He saw himself as a work in progress every single day. So accept that you will fail. There will be days you forget to lay your brick. There will be days when the wall you built yesterday is knocked down by old habits. But do not give up. Pick up those bricks and patiently put them back in place. Your journey is not to build a flawless fortress. No structure in this world is without the marks of time and repair. The goal is to build a fortress that is resilient enough for you to take shelter inside, no matter what storms rage outside. A place where you know that even if the whole world turns its back on you, you still have a place to come home to. That place is you. And so we have reached the end of this construction. We began with the feeling of being tired from wearing an ill-fitting mask, from the exhaustion of running an incompatible operating system. We looked straight at the root of our self-judgment. And then we made a fundamental shift, from seeking a fragile love from the outside to starting to build a self-respect of stone from within. These 3 tools are not everything, but they are the first foundation stones. They are the affirmation that the introvert's journey is not about learning to fit into a loud world. It is the journey of learning to love the quiet world within. And now I challenge you, not a grand challenge, but an invitation. For the next 7 days, try being the architect of time. Just 10 minutes a day. Schedule your silence. Protect it as if it's the most important meeting of the day, because it is. See what changes when you deliberately water your inner garden. I want to end with a story. When Michelangelo was asked how he created the masterpiece statue of David, he replied, "I simply removed the parts of the stone that were not David." Your journey is the same. It is not about becoming someone else. It is a journey of chipping away, of removing the judgments, the expectations, the fears that do not belong to you, to reveal the truest and strongest version of yourself that has always been there. And finally, I want to ask you one last question for us to reflect on. As an introvert, what does your inner critic say to you most often? And which Stoic tool will you use to talk back to it? Share your story in the comments. Because while each of our fortresses is private, our battle is shared.